Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Well, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens. Congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers. Hey, two of them, they done reached the conference finals. So it's on, right? The 49ers got lucky. Boy, the Green Bay, towards the end, did a few things, but we're not going to, it's not a football thing, NFL, but Green Bay could have won that damn game against San Francisco. So they had a good season, and so did the Houston Texans had a damn good season. They overachieved. So that's all good. We'll move on to some boxing. Now, I got some Canelo news, the face of boxing news, right? I done told you guys how I feel about those titles like face of boxing because it gives those people a green light to do basically what they want to do, and I don't think anybody should be in a sport doing what the hell they want to do. There should be rules for everyone, but I see it across the whole world, even in the world of politics. There's some that could just do what the hell they want to do, and people follow like zombies, just walking dead running around here, right? So there's no rules, and we don't, when there's no rules, then damn it, what is that? Anarchy. And that's what we have in boxing sometimes. Canelo Alvarez is in the 168-pound division. He's the undisputed champion. Canelo Alvarez could have been undisputed easier, well, not easier, but with one fight against Demetrius Andrade in the middleweight division, which is a glamour division. He goes up, instead of fighting Demetrius Andrade for undisputed and $40 million, he says no to that because he's a horrible fighter, goes up to the next weight division and doesn't fight anybody that's remotely as good as Demetrius Andrade in 168-pound division. Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, who was doped when he was supposed to fight Demetrius Andrade, and then Caleb Plant, neither of which are better than Demetrius Andrade. So that's who he fought, become undisputed. Now, everyone else that's undisputed can get stripped, like Jamel Charlo gets stripped for going to fight Canelo because Tim Tszyu was waiting too long. Now, David Morrell is the WBA regular champion at 168 pounds and for about 2 or 3 years, and no one is forcing Canelo to fight him. The WBA just ignoring the fact that Canelo needs to fight him, even though they're trying to consolidate their belts. The WBC is just really, the people, they got a few names for the WBC, like We Back Canelo and whatever, and that Canelo's the president of WBC. Well, ever since Canelo was, actually WBC wanted to force him to fight Gennady Golovkin, Canelo was about ready to give the belt back. Since then, the WBC was just really ridiculous when it comes to Canelo. I don't really need to start, really, but I will a little bit. When Canelo was doped, they just wanted to move the levels up, right? That Clenbuterol, I think it was, it's in the Mexican meat. So they kind of ignored that. Canelo was gave a 6-month suspension, and he don't fight but every 6 months, so he didn't really even miss one. I think he missed just one date when that happened. They gave Canelo the 168-pound title when Canelo was fighting Callum Smith for the WBA title. The WBC just gives him the title. The WBC is also the one that when Canelo had his mandatory was somewhat hard, like Jamal Charlo, when Jamal Charlo was Jamal Charlo. And he had that, Jamal Charlo had like 3 interim fights. A guy named Highland, I think he fought, and then he fought Korobov and one other guy, right? And so all those fights were interims, and there was supposed to be fights for him to become Canelo's mandatory. And they just gave him 3 fights, and after 3, Canelo decided, I'm not fighting him. So that's when you got that franchise title. For people that didn't know what that was back, that was about 2 or 3 years ago. They made a belt so Canelo does not have to fight Jamal Charlo. And then they made the belt to which we're just people who does things good in boxing. We're just going to anoint them. But it's not a title, right? So they started calling the franchise title better than the normal title, right? The guy who had the normal title was the email champ. The guy who got this farce as a franchise title was held as better, right? He's got the better thing. That's why they gave it to Lomachenko too later, right? And then Teofimo Lopez. It's just things like that. The WBC has been acting up. So at the end of the day, when you do that for people, then they turn into things. People only go as far as you let them. So Canelo has turned into what he is now. And I actually, it's just really a joke. He's like fighting circus fights. He's not handling his business in his division. And right now, he's been just trying to do everything. The last fight, Jamel Charlo, 2 weight classes up, right? Going back to fight Golovkin when he shouldn't too. When people are saying fight David Benavidez or Gilberto Ramirez, what does he say? I ain't fighting no Mexicans. When Demetrius Andrade's there at his press conferences, like, want to fight me, you're a horrible fighter. And he fights all these horrible fighters. And no slight to you guys, out there, the boxers, man, because none of you guys are really horrible fighters. But you can't call a Demetrius Andrade an elite fighter horrible just because you don't want to fight him. But it's not the problem. The problem is the media sitting there laughing at him calling a great fighter horrible, or embracing the franchise title and acting like these guys and calling people in the know, calling like a Devin Haney an email champion or a Jamal Charlo an email champion, and they did it the right way. Something corrupt, you're behind, and that's what's happening in boxing. All boxing has to do is call Canelo out, but everybody seems to want some money. PBC done signed Canelo, and now everybody else can't get paid because of Canelo. Because why would you want this fighter? The Zone took him for 10 fights, $365 million, right? And then he wanted to fight just anybody. As soon as he wanted to fight somebody hard, like Demetrius Andrade, who was also signed there, Canelo wants to get out of the contract. He's expecting $40 million for fighting whoever the hell he wants. But that's not the kind of money you give anybody, to fight whoever they want. It should be what the fans want, what we're going to sell. But they're so hell-bent on him being at the top of the food chain that he doesn't have to follow the rules. Here's some more examples. Canelo has mandatories in the 168-pound division we're talking about, and he doesn't fight Mexicans, right? Next on his plate, and his team called the team of Jaime Munguia. Canelo's team should not be calling no damn Jaime Munguia. They called Jaime Munguia. Speaking of called, you know who's Canelo's calling out? Old-ass, little-ass Floyd Mayweather. That's who he's calling out. When you say, hey, what about David Benavidez? What about David Morrell? Even still, what about Demetrius Andrade? We'll accept that. He don't want none of that, right? How the hell is he up here? People are calling him anything other than, damn it, get out the way, Canelo. If he's not going to be stripped. Now, if he goes and wants to fight Jaime Munguia, then he needs to be stripped from the WBA and the WBC so these guys can fight. Then the fight between David Morrell and David Benavidez will have the profile that it deserves. The fight between the best two. The fight between two guys that Canelo's scared of. That's how it should be marketed. Just like it should have been marketed with David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade. The two fighters Canelo ain't fighting. But they've refused to do that. So now we got this creature we've created who's going around here. It's not even embarrassing for Canelo right now to be calling out Floyd Mayweather. It's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing to be talking about Jaime Munguia when you just said a year ago that you won't fight Mexicans. Right? Hey, that's your fault. Man, that's not fans. That's something totally different. Man, you want this guy to be a fighter. And everything we keep talking about, Canelo's resume is so great and whatever, because he stood in the ring with certain people, right? But his best wins with no controversy, then it gets scarce, right? And it's not like, why we keep fighting people that no one wants to fight? And every time we have an opponent that could possibly beat Canelo in your eyes, you simply don't want him to fight him. Doesn't matter who it is, and we can go from way back until now. It just, as soon as the guy has a chance, as a 50-50 fight, you don't want to see it, and we start asking questions of who they fought and why they're not worthy. And then Canelo will fight somebody else that's definitely not worthy. The John Rythers, the Amir Khans, the Kirklands, the whoever, the Roy Fieldings and all that of the world, right? They can get it, but the hard ones can't. Have a good time with this guy. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm out of here, y'all.